Hey everyone, this is Alexandra from Hear Me Roar, and welcome to Cacao Talk episode 14. No, you don't always have to be positive. But before we get to our topic, let's go ahead and take a sip of our cacao. Oh, it's so good today. Today I made it with day syrup, cinnamon, and cardamom as we're entering this fall season. Even though it's still extremely hot, I'm already energetic at getting prepared for this. But so mixing more of those fall autumn flavors into the cacao has been really incredible the last week or so. Anyway, so to our topic, no, you don't always have to be positive. So this question, not kind of, it did come up in two different scenarios in this past week. So I thought that this would be a really good topic to touch on a little bit about. So I'm just going to go straight in and share with you the scenarios that they came up and then like the insights that we had as we discussed them, right? So in the first scenario, I had this client, we were talking, she's been working with me for a while, and she was sharing out how it was frustrating for her and overwhelming to still be in energies of getting triggered or getting angry or being upset or being in grief. And, as she's sharing this out, I just simply posed the question, are you willing to give yourself the permission to be angry? If your emotion right now, if what you are needing is to express anger or what you are needing is to express your grief, can you give yourself the permission to do that? That's the question I posed to her. And she looked at me and she goes, I can do that? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I can give myself permission to be angry, to be upset. Like, will that not hinder the progress? And then the progress meaning her wanting to get over, the issue that, she has been working through. And I said, no, like it will not hinder it whatsoever. If anything, I think is what will get you closer and sooner to where you are wanting to be, right? I'll get into more about that in a second. I want to share the second scenario. The second scenario was that I have a fellow friend and energy healing worker who posed a question the other day, and she was sharing how in some of her previous posts, she was just expressing her life experiences. And in a couple of the posts, she expressed her frustration or her anger or her annoyance with, some situation in her life. And she got some backlash for that. Some people were like, hey, you're this healer. You're supposed to be setting an example. You're supposed to be spinning things in a positive way. And so she just also posed the question on the other side of like, as energy workers and healers, what do we think about the expectation of always being positive and always showing this, modeling this example that we're always positive? And I was like, no, that's not my role. My role, none of our roles, honestly, is really to be the bigger, better person or, because we're all human, we're all equals, right? And so I found it fascinating that this topic of positivity was like so important. It's like almost like it's the only way to achieve your dreams. It's the only way to heal. You have to stay positive. You have to be positive. Like you have to. And I was like, well, that kind of negates the whole purpose. And there's a lot of different reasons here that I really feel that this is more hindering this idea that we have to always be positive. So bear with me and I want to like talk through a couple of them, right? So let's go back to my client, when she was expressing like, can I give myself permission to be angry and upset? Like, won't that continue letting me stay in this perpetual cycle of like grief and anger and all that? And the answer honestly is not simple, but the answer is also just yes and no. It all goes back to perspective. It all goes back to intention. It all goes back to really connecting with yourself and honoring where you truly are in your journey of healing or manifesting something in your life. And it's not about having to stay always positive. Because if you really in your core don't feel that you've healed from something, if you in your core really don't believe that you're going to be able to achieve that thing you're trying to manifest, then you won't. No matter how many smiley stickers and positive spins you want to put on it, because at the end of the day, it's all about vibration. right? So there's two things going on here in the situation with her. The first is like, yeah, if she's not feeling ready to let go, if she's not feeling ready to really bring profound forgiveness and this profound level of acceptance of what's going on, then no matter how much she tries to spin that scenario in her mind, she's not going to get there, because what she's doing is she's judging herself. She's getting frustrated with herself. She's not showing self-compassion and self-love, that right now where she is in the energy of grief and anger. Right. And so in that situation, so those are the two things that are going on. She's not truly feeling that. So of course, no matter how positive she tries to spin it, she vibrationally is not going to be there. It's like trying to go from A to Z. She vibrationally is not ready. And at the same time, it's negating the purpose of bringing in more self-love and self-acceptance, right? Because she's not accepting the fullness of who she is. She's putting judgment, and I'm not saying like in a conscious thing, she's like consciously choosing to do that. We do this on a subconscious level, but like, she is energetically judging herself or being hard on herself or making it seem like it's not okay to have the entire spectrum of emotions. Right. So, now, is being positive helpful? Absolutely. Of course, like many of us, if I feel like I'm in those higher vibrations of positivity and abundance and freedom and love, of course I feel better than when I am in the energies of anger and grief and sadness. But it's not just about like positivity is the only thing. It's about allowing ourselves to go through the journey, to go through those emotions, bringing self-love and self-acceptance and even self-forgiveness sometimes, and then naturally and organically going up that hierarchy of emotions. You can actually look this up, but there is a hierarchy of emotions, and you can't jump from here to here. You can go through the different emotions and maybe go into one and then back into the other and up into one, but you can't jump from here to here. There's steps that just cannot be skipped. And not only just for the reason of, self-love and self-acceptance, but also like there are, at least this is my perspective, there are treasures to be found. There are, or people can call them life lessons to be found in the emotions that you are feeling. If you are feeling anger, towards someone or even yourself, that's an opportunity to look at what boundaries in your life would you actually like to implement. If you're feeling jealousy, the jealousy is trying to show you what you really would like out of life, right? And you're not allowing yourself to have. So within these other energies and vibrations, there can be a lot of self-healing and a lot of self-growth. But this idea that we always have to be positive and you're trying to force yourself to be positive when vibrationally you're not, I honestly don't think that is helpful at all, right? And in the other situation with my friend who's a healer, as a healer, that my role is not to fake positivity. Now, if I am feeling positive, of course, I will share that and inspire that in my clients and family and friends. But if I'm not feeling positive, if I'm going through something, I will also want to share that, because again, that's authenticity. I'm human, you're human. We're also divine, but we're also human. And in us accepting and embracing the authentic self, that's really what I feel the human experience is all about. And that's where evolution and self-growth and healing and manifesting really stem from, is truly being authentic and truly honoring all the different emotions that you are going through. Like I said, I can talk about this forever. But it really kind of, brought up like that. Wow, am I really expected to be positive all the time? And that's not the case. We're not always feeling happy with rainbows and sunshines. I mean, they do exist, but I don't think that's the life journey. I think the life journey is really just embracing everything that we're feeling and allowing ourselves again to be witness of it all and allowing ourselves to see what the life lessons are, what the treasures are, how are we being asked to grow and get out of our comfort zone and expand. And it's not about pushing against something, because the more you push against something, the more it's going to push right back anyways. Again, look up Abraham Hicks if some of that resonates with some of you guys. They really, they have a really cool explanation of that. But we just can't push against something, Now, if we sit in it, right, if we witness it, if we step back, if we allow and surrender into whatever type of emotion is going on around us, you can feel so much more grounded than that. You can feel so much more empowerment in that. That's when you really start stepping into this idea of being a co-creator in our lives, you know? And again, that's just personally what I've experienced. And, you know, in talking to some of my clients and fellow life coaches and intuitive healers, you know, this is what we feel, you know, is really beneficial, you know, if you're looking to achieve that in your life. So I just wanted to share that. No, you don't always have to be positive. And if you want to be angry and upset and so forth, be so. Last little note with that, though, I always say we can express our anger, frustration. We can express love, all of those emotions, but from a respectful manner, right? We also want to be very mindful that we're not like when she was mentioning the loop, like, well, I don't want to stay in this loop. She's talking about the victimhood loop. And I was like, well, again, it's about intention, right? You are now allowing yourself to view that anger, to view that frustration, to, you know, view it in a way of like, what can I learn and how can I honor this so I can go ahead and heal, versus like taking it out on someone else or continuing to blame someone else, you know? So there are, I mean, like I said, we can go deeper into this, and maybe I'll do another video specifically on that component. But it's really about the intention, right? Like, what are we doing with our grief? What are we doing with our anger? We're trying to project it. Are we taking it out on other people? Then yeah, of course, that probably and definitely is not going to be the best way to process that. But are we sitting down? Are we loving ourselves? Are we making time and honoring what we're feeling? Are we allowing ourselves to grow from that, to expand from that? Then yes, you definitely, you know, I would highly suggest, you know, spending time with all of those emotions that you have. So that's my share on no, you don't always have to be positive. As always, if you guys have any questions or want to leave any comments, feel free to do so below, as well as any other topics you would like to talk about. And as always, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.